Hello everyone and welcome to Planet Zoo. We are going to start a zoo empire. If you have watched me play Parkitect, you know that I love these kinds of games. So we're going to get started. I've just started up the game for the first time and we're going to create an avatar of ourselves to represent us in the community by the looks of it. So that's going to be fun. Just making sure everything looks like it's going well. Let's create our avatar. Avatar customization. This is cute. So probably female. This is oof. Alright, I'm very pale. Oh my goodness, some of these are hilarious. We can zoom in. Maybe that. Yeah, I don't know if I like any of these really. So we'll go with that one, I suppose. Oh my goodness. We can change it. We can do highlights. I'm like really none of these colors. Like I'm darker than this, I'm definitely darker than that. But we're gonna go with that one, I suppose. Okay, hair up in a bun. Hair pulled back in a bun. Kind of wavy hair. I guess we're gonna do hair up in a bun. No glasses. Oh my goodness. We definitely don't get a lot of options here. We'll do that. Purple's fine. Purple's good. Yeah, we probably maybe like more like navy blue jeans. That seems fine, I guess. I don't really want a hat. So let's just go with this. This is our avatar. Place our avatar in the world. We can edit it later. I mean, I'm over in this general area. So let's just go there. Alright, we got an achievement. We've achieved our first steps. Very exciting indeed. Alright. First steps, franchise challenge, sandbox. So progress through a career in zoo management. That kind of seems like a good place for us to start. So let's just go ahead and start a tutorial because I've never played this before, so we need to do some learning. Renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in the 1980s, Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. More recently, it's undergone a further renovation to update many of the habitats and facilities, but due to various issues, the work hasn't quite been completed. That's where you come in. Let's go complete some work. Wider paths can help reduce crowd congestion. I'm all about reducing crowd congestion, that's for sure. Alright, everything's looking good. It's gonna take its sweet time loading, but that's fine. Here we go.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets.
That is something you should aim to avoid.
As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to
That's a
you
bad
to
thing.
finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
I would imagine there would be less shouting when the
Hello
house
there.
isn't on
From
fire.
that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals.
What on earth can I do with
Start by
this?
popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay, I have moved the window around a little bit, and I have no idea how that's affecting this. Okay, not great. So let's just try and figure that out. Okay, we've got some black bars on the video now, which was not my goal. Also, perhaps we should put my face over here. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I did. I don't want black bars in my video. Okay, they're very minimal now, that will do. Okay, I wasn't listening to her because reasons. So that's great. Oh, I can replay
Hello
the
there.
dialogue.
From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about
We have
to
a lot
get
of money.
really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals. We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
This seems like a likely suspect for the grizzly bear habitat. Locate the grizzly bear habitat. Enter grizzly bear animal camera. I've zoomed in.
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
Okay,
Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
right here. This is Zachary.
This
He's
is
got-
where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
Doesn't like. It needs less long grass.
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
Okay. Yeah, now, oh, he's swimming. That's cute. If I close this, does it exit? It does, okay. So can we just zoom? Do I close this? I went down. Okay, I can go down and up. Aha! I have figured out the up. I wish to turn around. Can I turn around? How do I, Oh dear. Oh dear, okay. There we go. There's gotta be a way to rotate. That's down and up. We've learned down and up. So what on earth is rotate? Do I have controls? I'm now in a tree. Controls. Mouse controls. Move cursor, activate camera, pan. Camera tilt rotate. Camera tilt rotate. Camera zoom. So we want to pan. Right? No, we don't want to pan. Oh, we can turn like that. I flew really far away from the zoo. Okay, well here's our other habitat. My goodness, I got lost.
Panthera leo leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Alright. There's our empty habitat. I found it much faster this time. We're doing great, Aruni. Right? Everything's good. Everything is good. Yeah. Okay. So we have an empty habitat. Look at all the people. Can we click on them? He's going. Oh, this is a keeper. I was hoping I would see a guest. So this guest is gonna need. Aww. So they have different opinions.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something.
Animals?
Well, two somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Use the animal trading menu to adopt the warthogs.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
Alright.
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade center where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
I want to. Do I send them to the zoo? Delivery scheduled. Did it do both of them?
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade center, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade center's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Okay. Oh, it's over here. Caretakers.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible.
Fast.
Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy.
There's a warthog now.
Each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Alright, so let's click on a warthog. Oh no!
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station, and for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
So we need... Okay, so that's here. Learning. Food trough small. And a water bowl large. We should probably put it close to like where the people can see them, right? Because I mean they're gonna come to the water bowl a lot.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
They're very large.
Oh, Nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a fair old state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
The ostrich habitat is unfinished. Let's find it. We've got to finish it. Aha.
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Pause.
That's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built.
Now, if only you could do this during your real job.
Job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Okay. Place a habitat gate.
Right. Let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Why am I in a tree? Why are we using a brick barrier? People can't see in this.
Good work. Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually
Yes, I have.
see
What
into
are we
this
gonna do about
habitat
that?
at the moment? At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in.
So... we can make it shorter or taller, but I don't really think that's what we're going for here. Is this glass? Transparent, not climbable, watertight.
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them. Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Alright, play. Add 4 new common
as well as
ostriches.
pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
This is a terrible exhibit. Just saying. There's one viewpoint. I want to go here. Can I just adopt all of them? Like, can I highlight all of them? So I guess we just have to go through one by one. So, animal market, animal storage, relocating to Habitat 22. Oh no, there's been a customs seizure. Why has there been a customs seizure? This seems a little convoluted. Okay,
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Okay. So facilities. Not facilities. Habitat. Right. Alright, we did it.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Protesters have arrived at our zoo, so that's great.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
That would be very annoying. Alrighty guys, I'm going to end this episode here. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and as always, I'm the Purple Pegasus, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!